All right, so what's up, everyone? Whoever is watching or whoever watches this, I'll get started right away. So, my name is William. This is my wife, Natalie. So, the main purpose of this channel, for anybody who's new to this, is basically the reason why I started this channel is to debunk the globe Earth. So, the way we debunk the globe Earth in this channel is by using practical physics and by understanding practical physics, in other words. So I'll be going over the two top proofs in my intro. For anybody who's new to this, that debunk the globe Earth, and then I'll get into the topic of the conversation of which is the Earth moving up in a straight line, right? So again, I'll go over the two top proofs first, and then I'll give my thoughts on the Earth's upwards motion, and then I'm going to be opening the panel for anybody that wants to join. So when it comes to the globe Earth, the number one proof actually has to do with debunking gravity. Why? Because the whole globe Earth model, the whole heliocentric model, relies on this idea that when you have an object, and you're holding it and it's at rest, and you release that object, the globe Earth claims that the object accelerated down towards the Earth. So you only have two options. So it's either the object accelerated down towards the Earth, or the Earth comes up to meet the object. So the object loses momentum, and it only appears to go down, and it's the Earth that comes up to meet the object. So you only have two options. So if we can debunk that objects accelerate down towards the Earth, and it's the Earth coming up to the object, that wouldn't work from a globe Earth model. Why? Because again, if you're on a globe and you're standing here, again, up is relative on a ball. So if you're standing here, up will be this way. If you're standing right here, up will be the opposite of that. And again, up will be in every direction away from the center. So if we can prove that it's the ground that moves up to the object and it's not the object that moves down to the ground, then from the globe Earth, that would mean the globe Earth will have to be expanding by the second, accelerating up by the second, or moving up by the second, which again, it wouldn't work. The globe Earth model relies on this idea of gravity being a pulling force that accelerates objects down, because again, without that belief, the globe Earth concept couldn't even be taken serious, not even on paper. So how do we debunk that claim? So again, we start by falsifying the claim of downwards acceleration, and by falsifying that claim, we falsify the globe Earth model. So again, so we do that by understanding practical physics. In other words, the physics of motion. In other words, so if you have a simple accelerometer, for example, like a water bottle, the water will always displace when at rest, and then you accelerate it. So another form of accelerometer, again, I have one here. Again, it's a container. Yeah, a simple accelerometer is simply a container with different states of matter inside of the container. Why? Because, for example, when I have this container here that has a ping pong ball surrounded by air, so a solid surrounded by air, in other words, a gas, when it's at rest, obviously, once the ball starts swinging around again, when it's at rest, and I apply a force in this direction, again, there's displacement of the matter within the container. It doesn't matter how fast I accelerate from the container being at rest, the matter inside of the container will always displace relative to the direction of acceleration. So if something is more dense than the medium that surrounds it, the object will appear to move in the opposite direction to the force, again, because the air is not dense enough to push it. So again, this is a different accelerometer here with water and a buoyant object inside a buoyant ball. So again, the opposite effect will happen. If you have something that's less dense in the medium that surrounds it, as soon as I apply a force, for example, in this direction, the buoyant object gets pushed in that same direction by the medium that surrounds it. Why? Because the medium that surrounds it is more dense. So when I apply a force, there's a pressure gradient within the medium that then is able to push anything that's less dense in the direction of acceleration. In other words, matter will always react to acceleration 100% of the time, especially when the object is at rest and you start to move it, then matter will always displace. If something is more dense in the medium that surrounds it, it will displace due to inertia. So the resistance to motion. So it will appear to move in the opposite direction of the force. And something is less dense in the medium that surrounds it, then it will get pushed in the same direction as the force. So let me go ahead and show that here in slow motion. Again, for anybody that's new to this, let me share my entire screen. Just shut it out here just in case. So let me So again, when I apply a force to the left in this scenario here, again, you can see that the ping pong ball is more dense than the air that surrounds it. So when I apply a force, it appears to swing in the opposite direction of the force. But the fact is that ping pong ball never moved towards the back of the container. We understand that it's the container that moved towards the ping pong ball. Again, the container's motion creates a pressure gradient with the air, but the air is not dense enough to push the ping pong ball. Therefore, the resistance due to inertia of the ping pong ball is greater than the force of the air pushing on it. So it only appears to move in the opposite direction of the force. So we get displacement. You cannot accelerate this container and the ping pong ball remain vertical relative to the container. You know, that kind of force that can accelerate the ping pong ball, the air all together doesn't exist. So again, that kind of force without the inertial effects of acceleration of the ping pong ball, again, it's just fantasy. Again, you're always going to get this displacement 100% of the time. If something is more dense in the medium, it's only going to appear to swing in the opposite direction of the force. So here, like I was just showing, again, you can see that the buoyant object being less dense than the medium that surrounds, in this case being water, it gets pushed in the same direction of the force. Again, the resistance is not, the force is greater than the resistance because that medium is more dense. So again, this will be called buoyancy. So buoyancy follows the direction of the force. So as soon as I apply a force in the direction to the left, I create a pressure gradient within the water with the more compression of water towards the back of acceleration and the less compression towards the front. So again, anything that's less dense is going to get pushed in that same direction as the force 100% of the time. When the container's at rest and you move it, doesn't matter how fast you move it, you're accelerated, you're always going to have this reaction 100% of the time. So there's no escaping that. So since we understand that buoyancy follows the direction of the force and something that's less dense appears to swing in the opposite direction of the force, again, we have true motion of the buoyant object and apparent motion of the dense object when there's one force. So understanding those principles, if I have this container here with a buoyant object, again, the red ping pong ball, and a dense object, which is the steel ball, I don't have to tell you what direction I apply the force in. Again, understanding practical physics, basic physics, you know that the force that I applied here was to the right. You know why? Because the buoyancy, which is the red ball, follows the direction of the force. And not only that, the steel ball only appears to swing in the opposite direction of the force because the resistance due to inertia, again, it's greater than the force of the medium that's trying to push it. So again, the water's not dense enough to push the steel ball. So it's the container that moves towards the steel ball, and that same motion that pushes on the water, it's also pushing the ping pong ball in that same direction. So buoyancy is simply a chain reaction of motion. So again, you don't have to believe me. You can do these demonstrations yourself and understand what's required to have the buoyant effect and also the apparent motion of a dense object as well. So again, this shows you that the force is to the right, because again, you can apply a force to the left and have this effect happen. This will be the opposite of the effects that we witness. And here's another thing. If you're claiming this container is motionless and you're able to recreate density and buoyancy or reorientate density and buoyancy in motion vectors, then you basically need a multi-directional force. So you need, if you're claiming that electrostatics can make a helium balloon go up, for example, and an apple go towards the ground, then you're going to need a force without applying a motion to the container that's able to create that multi-directional force. So that force is able to push the water and the ping pong ball, in this case, in one direction, and somehow pull the more dense object in the opposite direction at the same time. So that kind of force is complete fantasy. Again, people that believe in gravity, it's no different than, again, the motionless flat Earth that claim that electrostatics is the cause of that. It's literally no different. that kind of force that can create a multi-directional force that can go against itself and create density and buoyancy in motion vectors is completely fantasy and doesn't exist. So again, if you believe that gravity or electrostatics can cause these effects of buoyancy going pushing a helium balloon up, and then an apple appearing to go down or moving down by a force, then again, you need to be able to recreate this kind of force again, like I'm showing here, without applying motion to the container, you know. So again, we all understand, you know, through practical physics that that's impossible. That completely defies the laws of motion, to be able to have a force to go against itself and be able to move objects in opposite directions at the same time. That is completely ludicrous. So how does this debunk object accelerate down? Well, again, because matter will always react to acceleration no matter what, whether when you're holding an object at rest and you move it, it will always react to acceleration. So again, understanding these principles, if I was to show you this, for example, which one of these two did I actually accelerate down? Again, understanding that buoyancy always follows the direction of the force, and a more dense object only appears to move in the opposite direction of the force. Which one of these two would you say reacted to a force or acceleration, in other words, in free fall? That will be the one on the right. That's the obvious one. That one shows the ping pong ball and the air within the container being pushed down, which is in the direction of acceleration. Not only that, we can see that the dense object appears to move in the opposite direction, but not because the dense object actually moved up, it's because the container moves down towards the dense object. And that motion, that force of the container moving towards the dense object is the same force that creates the pressure gradient that can push the air or water in this case, and then that is able to push anything that's less dense, like the ping pong ball, which again, correlates with our understanding of basic physics that buoyancy is a chain reaction of motion, and buoyancy following the direction of the force shows that it's the one on the right that's being accelerated now. It's just one that shows the matter reacting to a force or acceleration. The one on the left, believe it or not, is actually free fall. So what I did there, I just held the container again with the buoyant object in the steel ball, and I released it into free fall. Again, the globe Earth and stationary flat Earth both claim that object accelerated down, but we can see that there are no effects of acceleration whatsoever. So any simple accelerometer will show that that matter doesn't accelerate down towards the Earth. Again, anybody can recreate these experiments for themselves and prove it to themselves that physical downward acceleration cannot be detected by matter. So that's one of the reasons, and the main reason actually, that gravity is just a theory. And a theory means that it hasn't been physically proven. So again, they say that, oh, it's the best explanation that we have, it's the best theory that we have. But again, they have to say that because they require this belief in order to push the globe Earth. So the globe Earth model requires the belief in gravity being a pulling force. But again, the fact is there is no physical downward acceleration in free fall, which again debunks and falsifies that claim, which falsifies the globe Earth. Not only that, it falsifies the stationary flat Earth. For all the flat earthers that are claiming the Earth is motionless, you're also claiming that objects accelerate down towards the Earth when you release it into free fall, which can easily be debunked. Not only that, if we understand that buoyancy always follows the direction of the force, then we understand that when you have a helium balloon and an apple, and you release the helium balloon and the apple, the buoyant object, which is the helium balloon, moves up. Again, what's causing that motion of the helium balloon to move up? It's the air pushing it up. And what's pushing up the air? It's the ground. Again, understanding that inanimate matter cannot move on its own and it requires an external force shows that force of the Earth is up. Again, the motion of the Earth pushing up on the air creates a pressure gradient, and that pressure gradient, that pressure of the air, is able to push anything that's less dense, like the helium balloon. So again, the more dense object cannot be pushed by the air, for example, like an apple or a steel ball when you release it. So it's the Earth that comes up to meet it. So the reason why an object appears to go down when you release it is because matter has inertia, again, the resistance to motion. So again, if the medium that surrounds it is not dense enough to push an object or to overcome the inertia of the object, then the object is going to start to lose momentum. It's going to start to decelerate, and it's only a visual interpretation of objects moving down towards the Earth. But the physical reality is that it's the Earth that's moving up to the object in free fall. So again, debunking that claim that objects accelerate down in free fall basically debunks the whole heliocentric model and shows that the force of the Earth is up. So let me go over a video real quick. Let me close this.
And I know this might seem repetitive, but somebody new could always be listening, and it's always good to keep hearing this over and over. That way it's like drilled in our own heads.
Yeah, again, I'm doing this for anybody who's new to this, and not only that, like Natalie just said, the facts are not going to change. Reality is what it is. So the fact that people are avoiding this, it's going to push me to push it even more, to repeat it, to show these practical demonstrations that debunk a physical downward acceleration that's not there. So again, not only do simple accelerometers show that there is no force down in free fall, but here, let me show you this video that I just uploaded, which is another simple accelerometer using a flame, because a flame, again, is a buoyant thing. You could say fire is less dense than air, so it's subject to buoyancy, which is, again, that's why fire rises, because again, it's air that's expanding. It's hot air, or whatever it is. Point being is the air is able to push it. So let me just share this video real quick. I think it's here. Experiment, yes. So I'm gonna go ahead and share this. Hopefully it plays with no issues. In this video, I'll be showing that. Okay, it's already okay. So I'm gonna go ahead and play. I'm gonna assume that the audio is good. If the audio is not good, let us know in the chat. If you guys can't hear the audio of the video, but we can hear it fine. Just let us know. Flames always follow the direction of the force. Flames are less dense than air, so depending on the direction of the force pushing on the air, that will also determine what direction the flames get pushed. For example, when I have a flame in a container with air surrounding it, as soon as I apply a force to the right, there's a greater compression of air to the left that is then able to push anything that's less dense, like the flame, in the same direction as the force. When I apply a force to the left, the greater compression of air to the right is then able to push the flame to the left. This can be demonstrated and repeated 100% of the time. The flame will always get pushed in the same direction as the force. When I actually apply a force down, we can see the greater compression of air switch to the top of the container, pushing the flame down, showing that there is a force present. However, when I release the container into free fall, there is no compression of air in the container, so the flame is not being pushed in any direction and thus turns into a sphere, showing that there isn't a force present. The compression of air in the container is only present when connected to the Earth, pushing the flame up, showing that the force of the Earth is also up. You can't have acceleration without a force, and you can't have a force without any reaction of the flame. So again, as you guys can see, the compression of air when holding it, which is the one on the left on Earth, shows that it's in the upwards trajectory. It shows that the vector is up. Again, the compression of air is only present when there is a force present. The air cannot compress itself. That's ridiculous. That's retarded. So, stationary flat earthers will claim that the air density and buoyancy create themselves. So they're literally claiming that air pressure creates itself. So the air compresses itself. Again, for the air to be able to be compressed like a sandwich being squeezed, right? Or something like that, like a sponge being squeezed, you need two factors. You need a force pushing it up, and then you need a resistance to that force. And that's how you get the compression. The air cannot compress itself, with no external force. You need a force and a resistance to the force, which again, the resistance is inertia. So we can see that in free fall, here, a little bit, we can see that in free fall, there's no compression of air. How do we know that? Because again, the flame is not being pushed in any direction. The flame correlates to the direction that the air is being compressed in. Again, the more dense or the more compression, the higher compression of air towards the back of the force, and the less towards the front. So the flame will always go in the same direction as the force, which in free fall, again, there is no compression of air. And if you're claiming that there is acceleration in free fall, then by default you have to claim there's a force, because you can't have acceleration without a force. So again, the compression of air is not there, showing that there is no force, which means that there is no acceleration. So again, this will be another simple accelerometer. It's using a candle or a flame inside a container, because again, the flame will always get pushed in the direction of the force, like I just showed. So here you can see that the flame, when I actually accelerate down, you can see the flame also being pushed down, showing that there's a compression of air in the downwards vector. If you're claiming that free fall, there's a downwards vector move, accelerating the container down, then again, the flame should react to that, but it doesn't. That's a simple fact and a simple demonstration that anybody can do. This experiment can be done by anyone to prove to themselves that there is no physical downwards acceleration. There is no force. There is no compression of air in free fall, which is required if you're claiming acceleration. It's a requirement. You can't have acceleration without a compression of air or water in the container. Fact. And again, the demonstration showed that there is no compression of air, which shows that there is no force in that, and that shows that there is no downwards vector, and it shows that the vector is actually up. So I want to go over one more video.
I do find it funny that people were saying that demo was CGI and.
Oh yeah, the comments on that video, somehow it got recommended in the algorithms, and I guess a lot of trolls started commenting on it and just starting that it's CGI, that it's not true. And in my opinion, that kind of shows that this experiment actually does, show something that people, can't believe, right? Because it goes against their bias to the point where they have to say, oh, it was CGI,
Yeah, they said they believe that the flame should extinguish right away.
Yeah. So again, the flame doesn't stay on for more than like 20-25 seconds, because it does burn all the oxygen inside eventually. So I did those experiments within that 20-second time frame. I did the accelerations and the demonstrations within that 20-second time frame, because the flame does turn off. It does eventually burn all the oxygen in the container, and then it turns off. Because again, the flame does require oxygen. Mm-hmm. So, but the fact that they were claiming that it was CGI, they were going as far as to say that, to deny these experiments, it's completely ridiculous.
Even though we told them this is something you can easily recreate yourself.
Exactly.
They're still like, no, obviously they didn't know I was his wife because they're newcomers, but they're like, no, this guy's just trying to trick us. You're being tricked.
Yeah. So the fact that they claim it was CGI, actually take that as a compliment in a way, like that actually shows that the experiment does trigger something in them, to the point that they have to say that, So again, at the end of the day, reality is not going to change. People can deny it. People can run from it. But for the facts are the facts,
mm-hmm.
At the end of the day. So I want to go over this other experiment with a digital accelerometer, because not only do simple accelerometers show that the force of the Earth is up and that there is no downwards force or downwards vector, digital accelerometer also shows that the vector of the Earth is also up. So I'm going to go ahead and play this one real quick, since it's related. A digital accelerometer is a device that detects the presence of a force or acceleration. For example, when at rest and connected to the Earth, it detects 1 g-force. As soon as I accelerate it from being at rest, the accelerometer detects that acceleration by increasing the g-force. Whether I accelerate it to the right, to the left, up, or down, the accelerometer will always detect the acceleration 100% of the time. However, the instant I put the accelerometer into freefall, it detects a deceleration. It goes from 1 g down to 0. If the accelerometer was accelerating down in freefall, it would detect that acceleration by increasing from 1 g, not decreasing. Not only does the accelerometer show that there's no detectable acceleration in freefall, it also shows that the vector or force of the Earth is up. When I switch to the vector tab of the accelerometer, we can see when at rest on Earth, it detects that the vector or force is down, as shown by the green line. However, the vector on the phone is inverted, because when I apply a force to the right, the vector goes to the left. And when I apply a force to the left, the vector goes to the right. When I apply a force down, the vector inverts up. And when I apply a force up, the downwards vector increases, showing that the vector on the phone is inverted from the true direction of the force or vector. So when the phone is at rest on the Earth and knowing that the vector is inverted, the direction of the force or vector is up. Also, when the accelerometer is in free fall, the vector completely vanishes, showing that it's not being accelerated down by any force, which proves that the force or vector of the Earth is up, not down. All right, guys, you guys just seen? Even digital accelerometers show that the force of the Earth is up. Again, the most, everybody's cell phone, again, if you have a smartphone, then it has an accelerometer built in. The thing is that the vector on the accelerometers on our smartphones is inverted, like I just showed. So when you open up an accelerometer app and go to the vector tab, it's going to show that the vector is down. A green line will show that it's down. But again, if you actually do this test yourself, you can prove to yourself and show that vector is inverted. Like I just shown, when I accelerate the phone to the right, the vector goes to the left. When I accelerate to the left, the vector goes to the right, and vice versa. When I go down, the vector goes up. Point being is that the vector in our phones is inverted, and obviously for obvious reasons, in my opinion. There's obviously a bias towards the Earth being a globe. So again, they have to push this idea of a downwards acceleration or downwards force. So that is why, in my opinion, the vector is inverted in our cell phones. It's literally for that reason. So again, so debunking that claim of a downwards acceleration completely destroys the entire heliocentric model. If we can prove that it's the Earth pushing up against us and it's not us being pulled down towards the Earth, then again, that wouldn't work from a globe. That would mean the globe will have to be expanding by the second, which is completely retarded and ridiculous. So again, debunking gravity as a pulling force, and it's actually the force of the Earth pushing up and literally moving up, it's the number one proof that debunks the whole globe Earth. And it actually proves that the Earth is a level plane in upwards motion. So again, that's the number one proof that not only debunks the globe Earth, but also debunks the stationary flat Earth, which is the false dichotomy with the globe Earth. So that's what they're pushing, in my opinion. All these mainstream flat earthers, all these gatekeepers online and YouTube especially, are part of a false dichotomy with the globe Earth. So now they're battling an idea that objects accelerate down, which is completely false. So they're both wrong.
Yeah, so it's no coincidence that all these bigger quote unquote channels are not on board with this.
Yeah, they completely deny it. All these big channels, they have hundreds and thousands of subs, they all claim the Earth is motionless. And again, it's part of the psyop. So the motionless flat Earth and the globe Earth are one and the same. They're on the same team, in other words. So it's a false dichotomy. It's like Democrats versus Republicans. They're both being controlled, in other words. And there's no doubt in my mind that it's being done deliberately. Because again, this doesn't happen by accident. This is basic physics. This is physics that a child can understand, elementary physics. So the fact that you have these big channels claiming, the opposite, that contradicts basic physics, that shows that this is being done deliberately. Now, most commenters, most people on YouTube, most viewers, in other words, are falling into the propaganda, just because these big channels are claiming the Earth is motionless, and then a lot of people just trust these channels, they're being swayed. So people are just believing, they're jumping from one idea to another, so that's literally what's happening, so that's the number one proof. I'm going to get into the number two proof real quick, and then we'll continue. So the number two proof is the fact that water, when containing at rest, is level. But water doesn't level itself. We understand that, you need a vertical force for water to be level. But regardless, when you have a large body of water, for example, on Earth, the surface, when it's at rest, the surface is always going to be level. So if you guys could see my background here, for example, the surface of the water is always going to be a horizontal, when contained. So how do we prove that? Well, again, the globe Earth claims the Earth is a sphere with a particular radius, and based on the radius that they give us, we can measure how much curvature there should be there per mile. So again, on a globe Earth, water cannot be level. The water has to be curving, and it has to be a constant curve that increases, because in order to form a sphere, you need a curve, to have a sphere. So again, the globe Earth claims a radius of 3,959 miles. So again, by falsifying that claim of the radius, we can falsify the globe Earth. And again, the physics of water debunks the radius of the Earth, or it doesn't matter what radius they claim. The fact is, water level doesn't curve and doesn't bend an inch. Yet alone, miles and miles and miles and thousands of miles, which based on the distance. So, here we go. So again, this is the radius of the Earth that they claim. So using a simple formula like the Pythagorean theorem, which is a squared plus b squared equals c squared, we can use the radius of the Earth to measure for the curvature. For example, if we're using the radius and then a distance over the Earth that we want to measure, then we multiply the radius squared times the distance that we're measuring squared to solve for the curvature. We'll solve for x squared. Once we solve for x squared, we find the square root of x. Then we just subtract the radius and we're left with the drop. Again, anybody can do this formula for themselves to prove the curvature for themselves that should be there. And then once we understand how much curvature there should be there per mile, then we could put that to the test in the real world. So again, based on the radius that we're told that the Earth is, there should be an 8-inch drop in the first mile, 32 inches in the second mile, and 6 feet by the third mile. And then that curvature increases more and more and more and more because they're claiming it's a curve, not a slope. So, and by 10 miles, there should be 66 feet of curvature, but we don't even need 10 miles. We'll stick with 3 miles. So in 3 miles, there should be 6 feet of curvature. Again, if we went out to the real world in a lake that was miles across, we understand the physics of water when containing at rest. If we physically build a level structure over that body of water, we understand that the water, is going to be level. In other words, parallel to that level structure. It's going to be horizontal. In other words, the surface of the water is not going to deviate from start to finish. Again, it's going to remain parallel. And then the more you extend that horizontal or level structure, the water is going to remain level regardless of the distance. Now, the globe Earth wants you to believe that water level means curve. That if we were to build a level structure over a body of water, that in 3 miles, there's going to be a 6-foot deviation from the start to finish. So that if we start and then the gap between the level structure and the water is 5 feet, they're claiming that in 3 miles, the water is going to deviate down or curve down 6 feet in 3 miles. So the gap should increase to 11 feet. And if we extend this level structure to 10 miles, that gap is going to increase to 66 feet to 71 feet, which is ridiculous. We understand that when water is contained and at rest, again, the surface is always going to be horizontal. Water doesn't have the physical ability to bend and maintain that bend. Again, that's a physical impossibility that defies physics. Again, understanding the basics of water and again, how water behaves when contained and at rest debunks the claim that the Earth is a sphere. It debunks the radius of the Earth, because again, the Earth is not a ball. And again, water shows us that. But again, that's the number 2 proof that debunks the globe Earth after the number 1, which is the fact that there is no physical downward acceleration of objects in free fall, and it's the Earth that's literally moving up. So again, the Earth is a level plane that's literally pushing up against you. And again, level is an orientation which is relative or perpendicular to the vertical. You can't have level without the plumb reference, which is the direction of the force. So again, level is relative to the direction of the force. So again, that's the number 2 proofs is the physics of water, the fact that the surface of water doesn't bend, So I'm going to stop sharing. I'm going to go over the comments real quick. See if anybody, see who joined, say hi to a few people that joined, and then I'll go on to the next topic. So, okay, 34 minutes, okay. Let's see, Sean, Amanda, Ram, what's up, Execrate, Andrew, Skilly Wonka, what's up? Cal40, Rachel, Earthship Bear, Mr. Obvious. I'm going to get everyone? Okay, I think I got everyone. Okay, let me see if I see any questions or any relevant comments. Let me see. This is telling a smaller number during gravity acceleration. Yeah, exactly. The digital accelerometers, again, show a decrease from 1G, which is funny because it shows a deceleration. Digital accelerometers show that there's a deceleration of objects in free fall. If it was an acceleration like I showed, there will be an increase from 1G, but the fact is that it's a decrease, in free fall. So, yes, in 10 miles, there should be slightly over 66 feet of curvature, which again, 66 feet is a 6-story building. People like to downplay the fact that, oh, the Earth is just so big that this curvature is just so minute that it's just not measurable. It's negligible, right? But the fact is, 66 feet is not negligible to us. 66 feet is a 6-story building. That is a lot of curvature within only 10 miles. 10 miles is not that far of a distance. There's miles that are easily 10 miles across. There's a lot of lakes on Earth that are over 10 miles across. To think or to believe that the surface of that lake is deviating 66 feet from start to finish is completely ridiculous. That should be measurable. 66 feet should be easily measurable, but the fact is that it's not. They rely on optical observations of objects appearing to, they rely on the fact that we have a limit to perspective, the fact that we can't see forever. So they take that observation and they claim that that's the curvature of the Earth. But again, physically, that curvature is not there. So again, 66 feet and 10 miles is completely ridiculous. To be honest, any curvature, even 8 inches per mile, it's not even there. That's the fact. Water is the number one tool for measuring level, and level means horizontal. It's literally that simple. So yeah, 20 miles is nothing. Exactly. Like, again, people like to downplay the fact, that this curvature should be measurable, but the fact is that it's not. So again, people can run from it. People can run from reality. People can run from the facts. Reality is not going to change. The facts are not going to change. Reality is what it is, and either you accept it or you don't. This is what separates real people, real honest people, from literally reality deniers at the end of the day. So, all right. So is the Earth moving up in a straight line, right? So I guess I'll get into this. So in my opinion, we could start from what we know, and based on from what we know, we can come to a conclusion, in my opinion, that the Earth is not moving in a straight line. So let me just share my screen again. So again, so we know again that water, again, the surface of water is perpendicular to the force. Water level requires a force. Water doesn't level itself. We understand this, that water is relative to the direction of the force. It's level relative to the direction of the force. So that's a fact. Even the globe Earth acknowledges that. That's why they say that water bends, because obviously, their vector, it's relative, right? It's a force down to the Earth, and that bends the water. Point being is that we understand that water is level, horizontal, relative to the direction of the force. So understanding that, again, when we have a container and it's at rest, again, we can see that the water is level, perpendicular to the vertical force, which again, we can prove to ourselves that it's up, not down. So the vertical force we experience here on Earth is up, not down. shown by the demonstrations by the simple accelerometers, again, that I just showed in the beginning of the video. So when it's at rest in a container with water, the water is level, horizontal. But as soon as I apply a force, we can change the orientation of the water. So we have a horizontal movement of water, or a reorientation of water level relative to the direction of the new vector. So again, we can change the vector by changing the direction of the force of the container, in other words. So again, applying a horizontal acceleration here, applying a force to the right, reorientates water in that direction, and we have a new vector now. So again, the water reacts to force and it levels out relative to the direction of the force. So we have an upwards force and then a horizontal force, then the vector is going to be in a diagonal. That's going to be the true vector of this reference frame, in other words. So again, water follows that direction of the force. It reorientates relative to the direction of the force. So this is a fact, right? So here on Earth, we experience a high tide and a low tide, the oceans. So what is the high tide and the low tide, right? So here I have some gifts here. So again, the difference in height between the high tide and the low tide is called the tidal range. Again, a horizontal movement of water often accompanies the rising and falling of the tide. So again, this is the mainstream. They even acknowledge this, that the high tide and low tide is a horizontal movement of water. So again, in my opinion, it's the reorientation of water. But again, so what is the tidal range, right, when it comes to the tides? So the typical tidal range in the open ocean is about 1 meter, which is 3 feet. Closer to the coast, this range is much greater. Coastal tidal ranges vary globally. Again, they use this word global, but again, it's not. The Earth is not a globe, and can differ anywhere from near zero to over 16 meters, so over 52 feet. So again, the tidal range, again, which is the difference in height between the low tide and the high tide, is not a constant. It goes from 0 all the way up to 52 feet. So it's like a gradient. So for people that claim that, the high tide and the low tide happens because water is being sucked out or drained out and then refilled again, that wouldn't work if it's a gradient. Again, if the water is being drained out and then filled back up, then that will mean that the tidal range will be equal everywhere. So it will be 10 feet, for example, all across the Earth if the water was truly being drained out and then filled up again. But we know that that's not the case. The tidal range differs from 0 all the way up to 52 feet, depending on where you are on Earth. So the fact of the matter is you only have 2 options of what the tides would look like. So if you believe in the globe Earth, this is what the high tide and low tide would look like, for example. But again, if you understand that the Earth is a level plane, then this is what the water is doing. The red line, again, would indicate the horizontal movement of water. So the high tide and the low tide, again, you only have 2 options, based on what we know what the high tide and low tides are, which is, again, it's a tidal range. It's a horizontal movement of water that deviates or that changes, that can be from 0 all the way up to 52 feet. So again, it's a gradient. Some places is 52 feet, some places is 40 feet, some places is 10 feet. Again, it's a gradient. So again, it's a horizontal movement of water. In other words, a reorientation of water. So what's happening is, again, the water is reorientating relative to the direction of the force, which in my opinion shows that the Earth is not moving in a straight line. Because we understand that water, inanimate matter, cannot move on itself or reorientate itself. So the fact that the oceans are reorientating themselves, relative to the direction of the force, shows that the Earth is not moving in a straight line. If the Earth was moving in a perfectly straight line, then we wouldn't have a high tide and a low tide. the water wouldn't rise and then go low again. You know, that wouldn't happen. But the fact is that that does happen. So again, there is a horizontal movement of water, and showing that the oceans are reorientated. Now, this reorientation is so minute relative to the vertical that it's pretty much negligible when it comes to practical applications. So when it comes to construction, when it comes to building, that deviation from the level that happens twice a day, again, the high tide and low tide, it happens twice a day. It's so negligible that it's not even accounted for. But water, again, being the number one tool to measure changes in the vector, actually does show that. Again, 52 feet, as being the highest change in difference from the high tide and the low tide, and all the way down to zero. Again, water still shows that reorientation, But again, the larger the body of water is, then the more that the high tide and low tide are going to show. Because a lot of people would say, well, why don't the lakes show that there is a high tide and a low tide? Why doesn't the lakes, deviate, right? Again, the larger the body of water, the more it's going to show that deviation. And again, the oceans are obviously the largest body of water here on Earth, and they do show it. Not only that, the Great Lakes here on Earth do show that are affected by the high tide and low tide. Here I have true tides, changes in the water level caused by the gravitational forces of the sun and moon. Again, we understand the Earth is not a globe, and gravity, the force of gravity from the moon affecting the tides is completely preposterous and ridiculous. Again, do occur diurnal twice daily pattern on the Great Lakes. So the Great Lakes on Earth are affected by the change in the vector of the Earth. Studies indicate that the Great Lakes spring tide, the largest tides caused by the combined forces of the sun and moon. Again, we understand that the sun and the moon don't affect the Earth, with gravity. That pulling force of gravity doesn't exist. Just a theory. So again, we understand that the force of the Earth is the push of the Earth. So caused by the combined forces of the sun and moon is less than 5 centimeters in height. So again, it's very minute in the lakes, but they're still affected. Again, the Great Lakes are still affected by the high tide and the low tide, by the reorientation of water or the vector of the Earth. But again, the smaller the body of water, the less that they're going to be affected. It's like holding a cup of water and claiming, oh, well, this cup doesn't deviate, so therefore, the Earth doesn't change its vector. Again, that change in the vector is so minute. It's like 0.00001, degrees from the 90 degrees. So it's like negligible. So, for example, this is like showing like a high tide and low tide difference. So again, if you were to measure 90 degrees from the water level here in the high tide, and then measure 90 degrees from the low tide, you're not going to be able to measure the difference in degrees. It's so minute, that change in the vector relative to us, that again is pretty much negligible, but it's still there. Again, we wouldn't have a high tide and a low tide if the Earth was moving up in a perfectly straight line. So water, in my opinion, shows that the Earth is not moving in a straight line. The fact that we have a high tide and a low tide shows that the Earth is not moving in a perfectly straight line, and it's part of a cycle. The Earth is moving in some kind of cycle, some circular motion, in my opinion. So I want to get into, it's related to the Earth not moving in a straight line, and it's accelerometers. So people like to claim, oh, well, accelerometers measure slight differences in different parts of the Earth. So are you claiming the Earth is rising up at different speeds on different parts of the Earth? And the fact is that slight difference in motion, again, that is detected by accelerometers, shows that the Earth is not moving in a straight line, because some parts of the Earth would be moving slightly faster than other parts of the Earth, but that's because the Earth is not moving in a straight line. Again, if the Earth was moving in a straight line, then that wouldn't make any sense, how some parts are rising faster than others, even though it's very minute. But again, let me share this. So again, just to prove the point, here we go. Do accelerometers measure different on different parts of the Earth? Yes, accelerometers can measure slightly differently at different locations on Earth due to variations in Earth's gravitational field. Again, the fact is um, due to variations in the Earth's constant motion. That's what it is. Meaning the measured acceleration due to gravity will be slightly different depending on your altitude and geographical location, although the difference is usually very small for most practical applications. So again, it's pretty much negligible, the differences in the accelerometers that read that some accelerometers measure slightly different or slightly higher than in other places on Earth. It's very minute again. It's basically negligible when it comes to practical application. So it's not even taken into account, but it is there. It is measurable. But again, I'm going to show how that proves also that the Earth is not moving in a straight line. So here, the primary force causing differences in variations in Earth's gravitational pull, which is slightly stronger at the poles and weaker at the equator, also varies depending on location and geological features. So gravity, gradiometry, to precisely measure these differences in gravity across different locations, researchers can use multiple accelerometers placed at different points to measure the gravity gradient. So there is like a gradient of some places moving slightly faster than other places. And then, and it's like a gradient. And I'm going to show how that works with the Earth not moving in a straight line. So again, understanding that, again, some parts of the Earth are moving slightly faster than other parts of the Earth, and that's why accelerometers measure that slight difference. I'm going to show how that works. So I'm going to share my I'll bring out the whiteboard for this. So let me move this out of the way real quick. Just something right here should be fine. So let me try this out. Let me see if I have that right. Okay. Okay. So I'm gonna draw. This is reality. This is physics. So if we have a circle, for example, we'll call this circle A. Again, it's not the best circle, so it's fine. Let me draw it a little bigger, actually. So we have a circle. We'll call this circle A. And then we have a smaller circle. We'll call this circle B. So we have circle A, which is a bigger circle than circle B. If we have a car, I'll just draw a square to represent the car. Again, in order for these cars to complete the circle at the same time, circle A, in other words, car on circle A, is going to be having to travel faster than circle B, than the car in circle B. That's a fact. He's having to cover more distance, and in order for them to do a complete circle and complete the circle at the same time, the car on circle A is going to have to be traveling faster than circle B. That's a fact. If you deny this, then you're an idiot. Again, this is simple facts. This is reality. Again, in order for both of these cars to complete a complete circle, the car on circle A, it's going to have to be traveling faster than the car in circle B. That's a fact. All right. So again, once we understand these simple facts again, and then understanding that the Earth is not moving in a straight line. So let's say the Earth is like on some kind of pivot like that. So it's on a pivot right here, right? We'll say the Earth. I'll draw a square to represent the Earth, right? So if somebody's standing here, for example, with an accelerometer, and again, you have the force moving up, we'll call this person A, right? And you have a person, why isn't it working?
Is there a lock that you may have clicked?
I don't know. Maybe. Let me pull this up. Oh my god. We'll click this and this again. why isn't it working? Oh my god.
Maybe start over. Like on the top, let me give you options.
Yeah. New sketch, huh? Oh, I don't know why this is not working. What the hell happened?
Did you click something over there?
I probably did. I don't know. Oh my god. I guess I'll just restart it. Okay, there we go. I don't know what happened there. Okay. Okay, so again, back to the Earth. So if the Earth was on a pivot here, kind of going like that, right? So we'll say the Earth is in this box, right? And we have a person here holding an accelerometer, okay? Pushing up, we'll call this person A. And we have another person here holding another accelerometer, we'll call this person B. Person A's accelerometer is going to measure a slightly different, faster rate than person B because person B is closer to the center. So they're going to be making a slightly smaller circle than people that are on the outskirts of that. So person A holding the accelerometer, again, it's going to be making a slightly bigger circle than person B. And then if we go to another person over here, person C, that's even going to show a slightly slower than B. And B is going to be slightly slower than A. So this is the gravitational gradient that they're talking about, that we just read. This is the gravitational gradient, but we understand gravity is not a pulling force. It's not this magical force that magically makes accelerometers measure slight differences for whatever reason. It doesn't even make any sense from a globe Earth. The fact is the accelerometers measure that slight difference because, again, and a person holding an accelerometer, for example, on A, that person, when the Earth is moving up, in a circle, person A holding an accelerometer is gonna be slightly faster than person B, and person B is gonna be slightly faster than person C. And again, that is the reason why accelerometers will measure a slight difference on different locations on Earth is because the Earth is not moving in a straight line. Now, if the Earth was moving in a straight line, up, then all these accelerometers will measure the exact same. There wouldn't be that slight difference. And again, that slight difference is so minute that it's not even accounted for. It's basically negligible, but it is there. It is measurable, just like the high tide and the low tide. They show that there is a reorientation or a deviation from the vertical. It's not a perfectly straight line. And water shows us that. Accelerometer shows us that. The fact is the Earth is not moving in a straight line. So when people say that, oh, the Earth will have to be moving through infinite space in a straight line, that's already a straw man. Because, my position is, based on practical physics, is that the Earth is not moving in a straight line. Accelerometers show that, and water shows us that. So the Earth is a part of a cycle. So when people say, that, oh, the Bible says that it's fixed, in its foundations, then yeah, the Earth is fixed. It's fixed in its foundation of being in a cycle. You cannot take it off from that cycle. It is what it is. It's part of a cycle. And it's not moving in a straight line. That's the fact. So again, I just wanted to go over that for people that have that idea that like to strawman that the Earth is moving in a straight line. The fact is, again, practical physics shows that the Earth is not moving in a straight line. And again, that deviation from the perfectly straight line, that it's so minute that it's not really accounted for when it comes to practical applications, but it is there. Physics shows that, again, the Earth is not moving in a perfectly straight line. So let me see what the comments say. If anybody has anything to say about this, if anybody disagrees with this, let me just stop sharing real quick. Let me just, I don't want to exit. I guess exit full screen, right? Yeah. Just minimize that. I guess I'll read them on the studio here. So I'm going to go back a little bit. My whiteboard skills are far superior. Nice one, nice one. What's up, Dal? Good to see you. Good to see you. Blood sticker. Hey, Andrew. Let's see if anybody else. Andrew, what's up, Andrew? See if anybody else new that joined. All right, let's see if anybody disagrees with what I just showed. Exactly, circumference A is longer than the circle B. Exactly. Again, if the Earth is not moving in a perfectly straight line, then accelerometers are going to measure that slight differences. So technically, parts of the Earth are moving slightly faster than other parts of the Earth. But again, it's because the Earth is not moving in a perfectly straight line. So people try to use that and say, oh, how can the Earth be moving up at different rates on different parts of the Earth? It doesn't make any sense. I guess it wouldn't make sense if it was moving in a perfect straight line. Yeah, that would mean that parts of the Earth are rising faster than other parts. And it's like, it wouldn't make sense if it's moving in a perfect straight line. But it's not. That shows that it's not moving in a perfectly straight line. And some parts of the Earth are moving slightly faster than other parts. Because again, like I just showed, that would show that the Earth is not, if it's deviating from that, then it's making a circle, in other words. So, I draw worse than that. That's it. If an outer area of the Earth level of the area of level Earth tides 30 feet, is this enough to shift the plumb bob 4 times in 24 hours? Middle level Earth will see very little shift. No option. Both must be true. Yeah, again, in my opinion, the closer you are towards the center of the pivot, I guess you could say, then the less the high tides are going to show there, in my opinion. Again, based on how water behaves. It's level, but it moves. I can't smoke enough weed to keep up with you. I mean, it's reality. Again, maybe smoking, it's keeping you from getting there, from understanding the simple facts. Maybe you should slow down on smoking. Maybe you start seeing reality clearer, and there'll be less, going on in your head, clouding your thoughts, right? So, but yeah, I mean, reality is what it is. Again, if if you believe the Earth is stationary, or you disagree with the points that I just presented, I would love to hear your reasoning to why. What's the cause of the high tide and the low tide in the stationary Earth, right? Why do accelerometers measure slight differences, on different parts of the Earth? I would like to hear your reasoning to why that happens, because in my opinion, these observations, these measurements show that, again, the Earth is not moving in a perfectly straight line, and it literally aligns with that, Earth should bear its level because it moves. Exactly. It's level relative to the direction of the force, and force is motion. So the Earth has a force. It exerts a force. That means that it's literally moving. A pulling force of gravity, Earth exerting a pulling force of gravity, that's retarded. They're literally claiming that the Earth is like a magnet, that affects all matter equally. Not only that, it's able to pull objects down towards the Earth, but then less dense objects get pushed up in the opposite direction by this same force, which is completely retarded. And again, stationary flat earthers are claiming that exact same thing now. They're literally claiming that the Earth is like a magnet too. that it pulls objects towards it and makes them stick. And not only that, it makes helium balloons and air bubbles and all that get pushed in the opposite direction of that magnet pull. Which again is completely retarded, it's completely ridiculous. The stationary flat Earth is no different than the globe, and people need to realize that. There's no given that channels like Minds and Bells are completely being pushed aside, are being completely ignored, and they're just continuing their fucking shit show. These stationary flat Earthers and globe Earthers. The stationary flat Earthers are making a mockery of our reality. The globe Earthers are jumping on board and destroying these flat Earthers, and that's how they're gaining points, because you have these stationary flat Earthers making idiotic, retarded ass claims, and then the globe Earthers can destroy those claims, and now it looks like the globe Earth has some merit. But the fact is that they're both just as ridiculous as each other. At least the globe Earthers acknowledge that you require a force. You have a lot of flat Earthers that deny that you need a force for motion, that you need a force for acceleration, that matter just accelerates itself with no external force or cause. Like, that's even more retarded than the globe Earth, in my opinion. So again, these flat Earthers, motionless flat Earthers that claim density and buoyancy, are literally making a mockery of this whole subject, and are literally there to make it look stupid, which is what exactly what a controlled opposition is supposed to do. They're supposed to make the topic look stupid, make stupid ass fucking claims, again, to make the whole thing look retarded. And that's exactly what we're witnessing. But again, the globe Earth is no different. At least they acknowledge a force, but at the same time, this force defies all the laws of motion. So again, it's no different. So I'm gonna go over this other question that people usually have. One of the main questions when it comes to gravity, right? Oh, but when I release this object, it accelerates towards the ground. You could measure it. You can measure that the distance traveled in the first second, it's less than in the second second. The second second, it travels faster than it did in the first second. And then in the third second, it travels faster than it did in the second second. So there's an obvious acceleration, of the object moving down towards the Earth. Like, how would that work from a level Earth? So again, bring out the whiteboard for this again. Real quick. So why do objects appear to accelerate down in free fall, in other words, right? That's what it comes down to, right? When I release an object, I can clearly see it accelerating, So globe Earthers and stationary flat Earthers, like Jaron and Witsit, for example, they attack this like the globe Earthers do, same way. So they claim that when you release an object, here I'll show. We'll show the Earth. We'll have, we'll say the Earth is moving up. We'll say at 100 miles an hour. For the sake of the demonstration here. So they like to say, oh my God. Okay, that's fine. I gotta be perfect. Okay. So they like to say, or strawman, that when you have an object, actually, bring it closer to that. There we go. And when you're holding an object, when you're holding this object is also moving at 100 miles an hour. We'll say, it's a ball, a bowling ball, it doesn't matter. When you're holding it, everything here, this ladder, we could say it's a ladder or a building, doesn't matter. We'll say it's a building. So everything that's connected to the Earth is moving at 100 miles an hour. So when you release an object, what they like to claim is that, when you release an object, that means the Earth will have to come up to it at a constant. So there shouldn't be an acceleration of the Earth. That means the Earth will have to be accelerating up to the object. So what they're trying to claim is that as soon as you release this object into free fall, it goes from 100 miles an hour down to 0 miles an hour in an instant. Like instantly, as soon as you like instantaneously. How do you say that? So instantly, yeah, it goes from 100 miles an hour down to 0, which again is a completely ridiculous claim. Matter, requires time to accelerate and also requires time to decelerate. So to claim that when you release an object, it's just floating there at 0 miles an hour is a straw man. The fact is that an object, when you release it into free fall, requires time to decelerate. So it's going to start to lose momentum. It's going to go from 100 miles an hour down to 99, 98, 97, 96, down to, however low it gets. Point being is that what happens is the reason why there's an apparent acceleration is because when you're holding it and it's going at 100 miles an hour with the Earth, the difference in speed between the free falling object and the Earth is 0, right? So we'll do a few markers here. So this is why objects appear to accelerate down in free fall, because there is an increase in speed between the Earth and the free falling object. There is an increase in speed again, but it's not because the Earth is accelerating up. It's because the object is decelerating, and the more it decelerates, the higher the difference in speed is going to be between that free falling object and the Earth. So again, in the first second, oh my God, okay, why is this happening? Okay, in the first second, we'll say that it dropped to 95 miles per hour. So the difference in speed in the first second between the free falling object and the Earth is going to be 5 miles per hour. So in the second second, you're going to lose more momentum. We'll say 90 miles an hour. We'll do 5-mile increments for this example. So the difference in speed between the free falling object and the Earth is going to increase to 10 miles an hour now in the second second. In the third second, again, it goes down to 85. The difference in speed between the free falling object now, it's 15 miles per hour. 4 seconds, it's going to have more time to decelerate, so it's going to go down to 80 miles an hour. So the difference in speed between the free falling object and the Earth is going to be 20 miles an hour. Again, 5 seconds, we'll say 75. So it's going to be 25 miles per hour. And 6 seconds, it's going to go down to 70. So the difference in speed between the free falling object and the Earth is going to be 30 miles per hour. So again, what you can see here, there is an acceleration or a difference in speed that increases by the second. But again, it's because the difference in speed between the free falling object and the Earth is increasing, but not because the Earth is accelerating up. It's because the object is decelerating. And again, the more the object decelerates, the higher the difference in speed between that free falling object and the Earth is going to be. So that apparent acceleration of the object going down in free fall, again, is only apparent because the fact is it's a deceleration. So there is a change of rate that does increase between the free falling object and the Earth, but again, it's because the object is decelerating. The more the object decelerates, the higher the difference in speed of the Earth and the free falling object is going to be. So it's going to appear like the object is accelerating down, but the fact is, again, it's simply just losing momentum. And the more that it loses momentum, again, the faster the Earth is going to impact it, So if it only had 1 second to decelerate, then the impact force is only going to be 5 miles an hour. If it had 3 seconds to decelerate, then the impact force is going to be 15 miles an hour. So 15 mile an hour impact is higher than 5 miles an hour. So the higher you increase it, we'll say in 6 seconds, again, 30 mile per hour impact in 6 seconds. That's obviously higher than if you dropped it at 3 seconds, which is not going to be that much higher. So again, the reason why objects appear to accelerate in free fall, again, it's not a physical acceleration of the object, it's a deceleration. And again, the practical examples of simple accelerometers show that there is no physical downward acceleration. The fact is that matter simply decelerate due to inertia. And again, inertia is proportional to an object's mass, So the more mass an object has, the higher the resistance. The less mass an object has, the less the resistance. So that's why everything appears to or decelerates. Everything decelerates at the same rate because inertia, the cause of the deceleration, is proportional to an object's mass. Again, what that means is that the more mass an object has, the more resistance it's going to have due to inertia. And the less mass an object has, the less resistance it's going to have. So that literally shows that that objects will decelerate all at the same rate. Again, it all has to do with the inertia being proportional to an object's mass. So again, this is reality. This is physics. You know, you can deny it all you want. You can run away from it, but reality is not going to change. You know, so let me see if I can erase this whole thing like that. I should just been doing that. You can be erasing them one by one.
Yeah, I was wondering why you're doing that.
So, let me stop sharing. Let me exit this. I'm gonna check the comments again, see if anybody disagrees with this, or if anybody has any input on what I just presented. Renewed awareness. What's up? Jaren's back to a globe, ain't he? Haha. What a cunt. I know. I think I heard something about that. Jaren is a former flat earther now, right? Well, the Earth was never flat to begin with, so it's like saying that you're a former Bigfoot believer. You know, like what difference does it make? I'm a former believer in Santa Claus, right? It's no different than saying that, you know, because he believed in the stationary flat Earth, which was bullshit anyway. So he went from the globe Earth idea to the flat Earth idea, back to the globe Earth idea. Like, what a fucking idiot, you know. In my opinion, I don't think he's that dumb, you know. I think he's at it. Obviously, I think he's being pushed and propped up, in my opinion, as part of the psyop. Just like Witsit, just like all of these mainstream flat earthers that get pushed by the algorithms, that get pushed by YouTube, you know. The fact is, these people are not genuine. You know, they're not in this, you know, for the actual truth. They're in this for their own personal gain. And yeah, at the end of the day, what they believe, what they claim, it's completely irrelevant. You know, it's a complete waste of time to even talk about them, in my opinion. But again, it's cool to highlight the stupidity that they actually claim. But yeah, it's completely retarded. So, let's see if there's anything here. What I'm gonna do now, real quick, I'm gonna open up the panel. So, give me 1 second. Let me copy the link. So I'm going to open up the panel. If anybody wants to join and add to what I've been presenting, or if you disagree with it, again, if you believe the Earth is a motionless plane, if you believe the Earth is a globe, please join me and enlighten us. You know, show us your reasoning to why you have these beliefs about the Earth. You know, I would love to hear, you know, to hear what your thoughts are, what your reasoning is. And again, we can have a civil conversation. And again, I'm not going to curse. I'm not going to say any swearsies, you know. So yeah, I'm just literally opening it because I do want to hear what people's opinions are, you know. So,
could be about the demos, any of that.
You know, it has to be about objective reality. You know, I'm not going to entertain conversations about your beliefs about the fifth dimension and the sixth dimension, and you know, all of these fucking ideas about, you know, I'm not going to entertain them much, you know. So if you want to talk about objective reality, the reality we all find ourselves in, then this is the place for it. If you objectively believe the Earth is a globe, if you objectively believe the Earth is a motionless plane, please join the panel. I would love to hear your reasoning to why you believe that, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I don't get why people don't join. They leave like essays in the comment section and stuff when it's a lot easier to just jump on and have a conversation.
Exactly. This is for mainly the trolls, but again, anybody can join, whether you agree or disagree. So yeah, I'm waiting for.
I mean, a couple people are just calling me a bot. You can have a conversation now.
Okay. There it is. I'm gonna go ahead and pin it.
Yeah.
I am 55 years old and I learn something every day. Exactly. I mean, we as humans, we're very limited. We can't know everything. You know, that's just a simple fact. We can't know everything. Not only that, not only is our time here very limited to be able to learn everything, there's just aspects of this reality that we can't know as well. So to claim, you know, to be a know-it-all and all of this shit, it just shows how arrogant and retarded you actually are. The fact is we can't know everything. That's just a simple fact. You know, people need to humble themselves and wind their necks in and realize that, oh shit, we can't know everything. You know, and that it's just a simple fact. You know, once people realize that, then maybe they can start moving forward, you know, because there is, just because we can't know everything doesn't mean we can't know anything. There is a lot of things that we can prove to ourselves. Again, the fact that matter displaces relative to the direction of the force, you know, the fact that fire burns, that, you know, if you breathe water, you're going to drown, you know, there's cause and effects of this reality. That's how technology was, you know, invented, in other words. It's by understanding cause and effect. So there's a lot of things that we can understand, but again, just because we can understand some things doesn't mean we can understand everything. You know, and then it's vice versa. Just because we can't understand everything, that doesn't mean we can't understand anything. So again, people need to realize this, and again, trust their common sense. Stop fucking going and listening to fucking bullshitters, fucking gurus online that claim uh, shit that contradicts our physical reality. That, you know. So again, claiming that objects accelerate down without any effects of acceleration is like claiming you can breathe water without drowning. Like, come on, let's be fucking real. These people are fucking retarded, and the fact that people are buying into that shit just shows that you're not thinking for yourself. You know, people need to start, you know, trusting their own common sense, their own intuition, their own understanding of reality, and stop fucking being swayed by these motherfuckers, you know, because again, these fools are there literally to just sway people's opinions, to sway people's perceptions, because that's literally what they're doing. They're just playing on people's perceptions and just lying, just making claims that defy physics. Physics shows that, you know, that the earth is a level plane in constant motion. That's a fact. So anybody that goes against that just shows that either they're at it or they're just completely, you know, got lost in the propaganda. You know, it's one or the other at the end of the day. So,
Only they would know.
exactly. Well, there is a pretty cool experiment. They dropped two foldable ladders, obviously extended in free fall, and one of the Earth touches it first. Do you have an Instagram? I'll try to find it. Oh yeah, that'd be interesting. Are the ladders at different heights? Or are they the exact same? Are they the exact same height? I guess that would be my question there. But two foldable extended in free fall. Oh, and then from free fall. Oh, I see.
think he commented again after that. Just
Okay.
clearing.
Yeah, I'll check right now.
Yeah.
Let me see. One of the ladders touches a box that's touching the earth. I know I'm probably not making sense, but it goes along with what you're saying. Oh, okay, I see. It probably has to do with the experiment that Execrate did with the plank, where it's like touching the earth and then it kind of goes into free fall, but it falls faster than free fall. And it kind of shows that there's an upwards push. So it's like this, but it connected to the earth. And then when it tips over like that, you know, it falls faster than G, in other words, because obviously there's an upwards push on this end, pushing this other end down. But I don't know if it has something to do with that. Probably does. But yeah, I would love to see it. I don't have an Instagram, but if you could find something on YouTube, you know, you could leave a comment and maybe with a link, that'll be interesting.
Or email it.
Or email it. You know, my email's in the description of my videos. I don't have them in the description of the live streams, but I do have them in the description of my regular videos.
It's just his YouTube name at Gmail.
Yeah, it's levelheadedwilliam@gmail.com for anybody that wants to send me any demonstrations or any proofs of the stationary flat earth or globe earth. You know, you can do that. But again, you can also join the panel and just share it live right now.
Yeah.
You know, I would say that's the best thing to do, to have, you know, dialogue one-on-one. So again, the link's there for anybody that wants to join. Please do so. Thanks, Mr. Obvious. William, if you're going to killing it. Jaren did his job of division and failed. Jaren, it's just completely like, I don't know. Even in the beginning when I first started, like in 2016, 2017, when I first came into this subject, listening to Jaren just put me to sleep.
I actually never like subscribed or watched Jared.
Yeah, I remember watching him when he was doing the
Yeah.
helium balloon tests and then even the laser experiments. Like his channel to me literally just put me to sleep. Like it just didn't. I didn't feel anything like positive. I guess watching him, like I just again, it's his energy is just
Something was off.
Yeah, his energy's not there. The energy's just not there. Like the way he tries to pretend like he's about truth, but just again, he's very monotone. Like he shows no expression. He doesn't show a real emotion like a human does. You know what I'm saying? Like, so it's like I noticed that from the start. So I was never drawn to his channel, or and all these other foods are like that as well. Witsit, all these other fucking flurbs, mainstream flurbs are the exact same. Like they're very monotone when they talk. Again, they don't show any passion. There we go. They don't show any passion. It doesn't make any sense to me, because if you were truly being honest and this was truly, what you're about, then where's the passion? This is the number one proof.
It's almost like they're doing a job.
Exactly. Exactly. The passion is just not there. And I seen that and I felt that. And obviously from the start when I first came across these channels, and just never appealed to me. They're just bad at their job, in other words. At least they're not even good actors, in other words, is my point, I guess, is what I'm saying. Like, at least if they were good actors, they would actually show some passion to try and sway people, and all that. But they're very, again, like you said, it just looks like they're doing a job they don't even want to do. Mm-hmm. That's what it comes off as. Mm-hmm. And it's so obvious the way he talks, and not just him, again, the Witsits, all these motherfuckers are the same. No passion in their fucking delivery. And again, they don't talk about the physics of this place. They ignore it for some reason. And again, it just shows that they're at it. Literally that simple. It doesn't take a genius to figure it out.
And I never watched them because I kind of caught that vibe anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, watching certain people is irrelevant. You don't need to watch anyone when there's real world physics everywhere.
Exactly. It's actually, I'm just over there. The latter end is contacted by the Earth, causing a downward acceleration on the other side of the ladder. Oh, so it does have to do with the same experiment Execrate did. Okay. Yeah, definitely that. Those experiments do show that there is an upwards push, on the side of the ladder that's connected to the Earth, which makes the other end accelerate down faster than G, or faster than Freefall. So yeah, definitely. Completely agree that correlates with the upwards push of the Earth, 100%. Exactly. Yeah, you see, same as Andrew's demo. Yeah, it was a really good demo by Andrew.
Yeah.
Really good job. He really put it into perspective for most people. Because there is other videos that I've seen. Obviously, the Globe Earth channels, science channels talk about it, and they claim that it has to do with the angular momentum, which again, they're fucking retarded, because if you're talking about the angular momentum makes it fall faster than G, it doesn't make any sense, because if it's an angular momentum, that means it's doing a curve, so it's having to cover more distance than something falling straight down. Because again, the shortest distance between 2 points is a straight line. So a free falling object will be considered a straight line. Something that has going in a curve like that, falling in a curve, that curve, you're having to travel more distance. So technically it should fall slower than G from the globe Earth perspective. But they claim that angular momentum makes it fall faster. Again, they just change the words and then they expect people to fucking believe it. And people do believe it, sadly. But the fact that it's an angular momentum, it's not moving in a straight line anymore down, that means it should fall slower than G, because it's having to travel more distance now. Again, the shortest distance between 2 points is a straight line, so the free falling object should fall faster. But these motherfuckers, again, they just say it and people believe it. They just give an explanation and that's it. That's all it takes for people nowadays, because people are not thinking for themselves, But
just repeat it enough.
Exactly, just repeat it long enough. You have all these different channels saying the same shit, and nobody's actually using common sense, and they just fucking buy it and just believe it and regurgitate it. It's pretty sad, but that's exactly what's happening. The fact is that it's the upwards push of the Earth on the other end that's making that side fall faster. That's the reality. All these fucking explanations about angular momentum and that makes it fall faster than G, and that's fucking retarded. Doesn't make any sense because gravity's still affecting it. If it was a pulling force and it's having to travel a longer distance, which again, it should fall slower, not faster, from a globe Earth model. And from a stationary flat Earth as well. If they're claiming there's a force pulling it down, it should fall slower, but it doesn't. It falls faster. And it's only when it's in contact with the Earth, when the other end is in contact with the Earth, So it just shows how retarded people are nowadays and just believe and repeat everything they say. And again, it's nothing personal. I don't say these, because, I'm just spreading hate, it's just a fact. You don't have to be an idiot. You don't have to be a moron. Stop believing all these fucking claims that have no practical demonstrations that go against the practical. If you believe in Santa Claus as a grown-ass adult, then you're opening the door to being called a fucking moron, to be called an idiot. That those claims defy physics. That if you believe somebody can fly or walk on water or walk through walls, these claims are bullshit. So anyone that believes these claims that defy physics, what else is there to call you? You're a fucking idiot. You're a moron. You've been swayed by propaganda and stories to make you believe that things can defy physics, So again, it's nothing personal. It's just a fact, Yeah, most can't think critically in a practical fashion how mechanics works. I know. Again, reality, there's cause and effect. It's very simple to understand, but again, people are just not properly grounded. So it's easy for them to ignore the practicality or the mechanics, in other words, of how reality functions. Because people are not thinking about that. They're thinking about sports. They're thinking about political shit. They're thinking about what am I gonna do on the weekend for fun? People are thinking about going to a party. People are literally, they don't think about the mechanics of how reality functions.
Too many distractions.
Exactly.
Too much fluff. Too much.
Obviously
it's on purpose. They've made so many distractions so that to keep you from critically thinking.
Exactly.
In my opinion.
Yeah, exactly. Again, sports are all year round. It's no given that once soccer ends, football starts, and once football starts, basketball starts, and then baseball, and it's just distraction after distraction after distraction. And on top of that, your occupation. Over 95% of jobs are obsolete. They're occupations just to keep you occupied. So when you're not working your 9 to 5, you're being distracted. It's crazy how people are being controlled, and it's so obvious to see. Literally just keeping people doing tasks, doing pointless tasks, and distracting them with entertainment and with fluffy shit. So it's no given that people don't have a time to just sit, and contemplate their existence, contemplate reality, really think for themselves. People are too busy to do that, so they just listen to a fucking guru. Well, I can't think for myself. It's just too much. So I'm just going to listen to this expert.
He seems credible.
He seems credible. He's gone to school for 10 years. He has a master's, a doctorate degree. So I don't have the time to look into all these conspiracies. So I'm just going to listen to this guru and then, I'm just going to believe him. That's no different than a fucking religion at the end of the day, So again, people that believe in the globe Earth, people that believe in a stationary flat Earth, you're in a religion. Religions are based on faith. And they rely on people's ignorance, and that's exactly what these globe Earth models, the globe Earth model and the stationary flat Earth are doing,
And then you pass that ignorance down to your kids because
exactly.
you're sending them off. You're completely checked out. So all these distractions, all that stuff is not just affecting critical thinking, but it's also affecting the family unit. You know,
Yes.
teaching your own kids firsthand. You know, even like yeah, I could get into a lot deeper than that, but
No, yeah, it
that's a
affects
video for that.
it affects the future generations. You know, it sucks that parents ignorantly are handicapping their own kids.
Mhm.
That's exactly what's happening. You're training them to be mindless slaves like you were. And it's only getting worse. You know, people need to snap out of that kind of mentality because, you know, it's not gonna lead anywhere anybody in a good place. It's not gonna lead anywhere and to nothing good. It's not gonna lead to nothing good. That's a fact. We can witness that living situation, you know, it's getting
It's
worse.
perpetuating the system.
It's getting worse. And again, it's sad that parents are literally handicapping their own kids and they're setting them up for failure. That's exactly what's happening. You know, it's getting worse by the generation, and it's up to us, you know, to stop it. Not don't rely on other people. Don't rely on the future generation to fix this. If you become aware of this now, then take responsibility now.
I mean, with the way AI and everything's going, you can expect the future generations to fail. I mean, they're using AI for their own thought process to get to achieve answers. Again, critical thinking in the newest generation is completely gone.
Yeah. Relying on AI to give you all the answers, Chat GPT, for example. I mean, Google was the first form of Chat GPT, in my opinion. You know, you just Google something, you get an answer. You know, now it's evolved to Chat GPT, where they just straight up just give you an answer without having to go through different articles, you know, stuff. So it's becoming um, the AI is obviously becoming more sophisticated, which is basically dumbing people more down, or dumbing people, you know, even more. In other words.
And I mean, who's to say it's not going to be programmed later to give you false answers?
I mean, it already is.
I mean, most of it.
Yeah, you know. So it's just pretty crazy that, you know, people don't realize this, and when somebody like me, you know, shows them how ridiculous these claims are, for example, of the globe Earth and stuff like that, it's like the propaganda is just too much. You know, their beliefs, you know, are just too deep. You know, that they deny practical reality in favor of the beliefs. You know, it just shows how brainwashed people actually are. You know.
I mean, it's almost like if their brains have been turned off so long that you say something that sparks, you know, some brain activity, and they don't know how to react and reciprocate and have a conversation.
Yeah.
To address what they're thinking, or they can't even put into words, so they just deny.
Yeah, exactly. Especially when I go to the universities, you know, we can see that people understand that matter reacts to acceleration, for example, and then when I show them the demonstrations that there is no acceleration in free fall based on the fact that matter doesn't react to that acceleration in free fall, they understand that. But like you said, it's like their brain doesn't know how to take that, you know, and how to respond to that.
Mm-hmm.
So they, again, you have some people just get awkward and just walk away, or again, a wall comes up and they start to deny the practical demonstrations that I just showed. It's like people, you know, people denying that we can walk on water, you know, or they start to believe that we can, because that's what I was raised to believe, even though we just established that that's impossible. You know, it's like, it's crazy how they go against their own intuition, their own common sense to defend a belief.
Or, you know, people these days are just more emotional. Sometimes they don't have a rebuttal, and now it becomes an ego thing where it's like, well, I have to say something, you know, so it just, you know, turns into a battle.
Yeah, again, it turns into a battle, and they just try to defend their bias at that point. It's not even about the objective anymore. It's about winning this argument, you know, and that's a lot of what we see online with this globe Earth versus flat Earth. You know, it's not even about the objective facts anymore. It's just about who wins the argument, you know, who could score more points, which again is completely retarded. Reality is not up for debate. Reality is what it is, and it's just about understanding, you know. And again, people can deny it, and that's fine. But to claim the opposite of what reality shows is literally crazy. It's the definition of crazy, in my opinion, to go against what practical reality, objective reality shows. You know, just shows. I mean, if you're brainwashed, then you're being trained. You know, you've been programmed. You know, in other words, you're crazy. To not have your own thoughts, to not be yourself, to not trust your own common sense is fucking crazy. You know, and that's exactly what we're witnessing with the majority of the population. You know, which is pretty bizarre. It's fucking crazy. Like, I still trip out.
Which is why it's important to hammer it down in such a practical and simple way,
Yes.
the way you do when you talk to people in public.
Yes.
You know, that way it's very easy to understand. You don't make anybody feel like they're unintelligent. You know, it's just
Exactly.
pretty straightforward.
Yes.
Anyone can get it.
Exactly. So on our next stream that we do like this, we're gonna be going over my conversations that I have in public.
Mhm.
We're gonna be just dissecting them, how people react. Not only that, it's gonna help me sharpen my skills as well, and hopefully people that are watching as well. Going over the conversations that I have with the students. Again, at the end of the day, that's what this is about. It's about exposing the globe Earth by using practical physics. And again, I think going over these conversations during these live streams is going to be a really good thing. Again, not only for myself, but for others watching. Again, it's just going to help me sharpen my tools even more.
It'd be nice to see how your approach has changed over the years.
That too, as well.
How far back we go.
If we go far back to the first ones,
no, because I'm in some of those.
I'm gonna cringe a bit if how because obviously I've gotten better in my approach. How to present this topic, especially before I started talking about the upwards push of the Earth. A lot of people ask me, well, before the upwards push of the Earth, why did you believe the flat Earth, right? And it was because of water level, the physics of water when contained and at rest. I thought that was the number one proof, and I used to preach that was the number one proof of the flat Earth, right, of the level Earth. Water being contained at level, but now that I realize that the upwards push of the Earth, debunks the heliocentric model entirely. And not only that, it can only work from a level surface moving in one direction. That is the number one proof. Not only does it prove that the Earth is a level, but it debunks the entire heliocentric model from the start, from the root, because they require this belief in downwards acceleration. This pulling force of gravity. So again, realizing that was a huge step forward for me, and I thank Dal. If you're still in the chat, for bringing it to the table and actually having the guts to go against the grain once again, because obviously becoming a flat earther, right, for lack of a better term, where, well, obviously the Earth is level, you don't have to call yourself flat. The point being is that even going against the globe Earth, there we go, it's already going against the grain, yet alone, the upwards motion of the Earth, so, I commend you for that, and, and I appreciate, pointing us in the right direction. Not just me, but all your subscribers and all the people that watch your content. It's a huge step forward, literally.
Yeah.
It's a bigger step forward than this whole flat Earth bullshit since 2016, 2015.
I'm just gonna put a comment on the screen real quick.
Yeah. Where's my statue? It'll come, right? Nah, but this again, the upwards push of the Earth it's literally the key to destroying this whole globe Earth. Literally the key. So the fact that people are not hammering on this subject, it just shows to me that you're not about truth.
Yeah, it's always surprising to me when it's just dismissed, or it's like, oh, that's not important, or that doesn't. It's the most important.
Literally the number one proof.
And if you're into the truth or objective reality, why wouldn't you look into it? Doesn't make sense.
Exactly. So it is pretty bizarre that people go against it, especially in the flat Earth community, right? In my opinion, obviously that just shows how fucking brainwashed these people are. Literally. They're going against the number one proof that debunks the globe. And you have these morons telling me, oh, you should focus. Why are you talking about the upwards push of the Earth? You should focus on debunking the globe. Like, are you not listening? This debunks, this destroys the globe Earth concept. So these morons, these stationary flirts telling me that I shouldn't talk about the upwards push of the Earth and I should just concentrate on debunking the globe are completely fucking mental. They don't fucking realize what the fuck they're saying. Like, bro, I am debunking the globe from the root. This is the number one proof that debunks the globe. That just shows that you're a fucking brainwashed idiot trying to tell me not to talk about the upwards push of the Earth, that I should focus on just debunking the globe Earth. Like, what the fuck?
It's the equivalent to when people tell you that you should focus on debunking the globe with NASA videos. With
NASA videos, it's like, bro, like that doesn't prove anything. Yeah, it proves that they're faking outer space videos, but still that doesn't debunk the globe, and it doesn't prove the Earth being a level plane physically. yeah, people will accept that, oh, well, there is glitches, that's just technology. Or some people would just say, oh, maybe they are faking it because they don't want to spend all that money to go to outer space, so they're just robbing money from us. There's explanations for that, that people are going to have. What you need to focus is on the physical aspects that debunk the globe or that proves that the Earth is a level plane. That's where you should start, because then people can't run away anymore. People can't come up with explanations to try and dismiss it because, again, reality is what it is. You can't deny it, So, yeah, focusing on NASA videos, focusing on the TFE, for example, these fucking observations of the sun, it's a complete waste of time, and it's literally just muddying the waters, So people that are telling me to try to prove the globe Earth using those aspects instead of these observations are fucking retarded. They've completely lost the plot. They don't even understand what the fuck they're claiming anymore. It's either they're fucking morons or they're literally just bot accounts at the end of the day. We know the internet, especially YouTube, is completely flooded with bot accounts, I mean, it's been admitted that over like 50% of activity online, especially like on YouTube, it's mainly bot accounts. It's just there to sway people,
I'm assuming truth over comfort is new. Dow, are you claiming Earth is rising up?
There's another one.
one.
Let me go more back because
No, down.
Okay, let me just go from here. Read some comments.
You just basically said, why do you believe that?
Take that use over to shit on. Statues are good to for being shit on, and I'm used to getting shit on. It's all good. That's a good one.
Truth over comfort. Does the Earth being in upwards motion make you uncomfortable?
It's just reality, exactly.
Yeah.
Mr. Obvious, the Earth is not accelerating up. Yeah, y'all made a good point in his last live. Not only will your weight be increasing if the Earth was accelerating up, but if you hover something from the Earth at 1 mile an hour going up, and if the Earth was accelerating up, you wouldn't be able to create a gap between that object moving up at 1 mile an hour and the Earth. The fact is, if an object is moving up at 1 mile an hour, you increase that gap more and more and more and more and more. If the Earth was accelerating up, it would literally catch up to it, and you wouldn't be able to create that gap just moving at 1 mile an hour. Mm-hmm. The fact is that in reality, you can't increase the gap between the Earth and an object moving up at 1 mile an hour, showing that the Earth is moving at a constant.
Yeah. Okay. Why do you believe it?
Well, it's not a belief, it's practical reality. So you can go back to the beginning of the live stream, and if you're truly honest and you're truly curious, I'm not going to go over it again.
I mean, Willem has a playlist with all the experiments
on my channel.
All the demos that he's done.
So it's not a belief, it's an understanding of the physical reality. So again, if you're truly interested and you're truly honest, and then I will go back to the beginning of this live stream. Not only that, you can check out the conversations that I have at universities, and you could go to my videos as well.
And again, the demos are, And
then again, if you're truly honest and curious, and I recommend you do that. It's not a belief, it's an understanding at the end of the day. That's a good question, Andrew. You believe that it doesn't, that the Earth is moving up, exactly. And if you don't, if you believe that it's not moving up, and that it's stationary or a globe, why do you believe that? That's a good question you should ask yourself, to start, So yeah, that's a good point, Execrate.
Truth over comfort seems to be uncomfortable with the truth.
Mm-hmm.
There you go. And then the last comment.
Okay. We'll go right now. We'll catch up. The effects, the water is very muddy out there, exactly. Again, all of these echo chambers, all of these groups that have been established, in the flat earth community and in the globe earth community, they're literally just there muddying the waters. They're literally just shitting in the waters. In other words, they're just, they're just shitting on our reality. and muddying the waters, So again, it takes an honest person, to be honest with yourself, to trust your common sense, to be able to see through all that, And again, I get, if you're new to this, I get it. There's a lot of propaganda, and I don't expect people to jump from A to Z right away. It takes time to go through the process. But that's why I'm here. That's why I'm doing these live streams. That's why I go to the universities to take it step by step with new people. Because I'm not gonna entertain these fucking trolls online. They're at it. I'm not gonna waste my time. Trying to convince fucking, the Witsits and the fucking Gerons of the fucking community, right? I'm going straight to the real people, that are actually, real and are not at it. And I'm taking them step by step. Again, one of the main reasons why I go to universities is to present this in a very practical fashion and go step by step. So,
what Truth Over Comfort? Why don't you click the link and join? It's pinned right at the top.
Yeah. Truth Over Comfort. If you want to join the panel, you can click the link. And yeah, you can share your reasoning. You say you don't have beliefs. So what do you think the Earth is? I guess will be my question, right? But again, you could join the
what is your
panel.
Claim, since it's not a belief?
Yeah, and if you're saying that it's not important, that you don't care, then why are you even here? You know what I'm saying? So again, I would love to hear your reasoning, your thoughts about what this reality actually is. So if you want to join the panel, go ahead. The link's right there for that very reason.
You're like way behind.
Yeah, I know. I'm trying to catch ones that I don't see. Because sometimes the comments slow down anyway.
So you guys can name a single test that proves Earth is rising upwards. I'll stop wasting my time and buy shows. I told you there's a whole playlist. There's a whole playlist of demos that you can repeat yourself that proves that Earth is in upwards motion. Again, instead of going back and forth, you could just click the link and have a conversation. We could play the demos for you right on the screen.
Truth over comfort. You're going against your own name.
Yeah, you're purely uncomfortable over the truth.
Exactly. I know. It's pretty ironic. It's kind of funny. Truth makes you feel uncomfortable.
And again, rather than do the research and go to your playlist, they're just going to dismiss everything, call us shills, and leave. Because that's what he just did.
Right. Stop trying to pin a belief on me. I don't have any beliefs. Beliefs are for delusionals. Okay, so what do you think the Earth is? Or what do you claim the Earth is? How about that? You don't have beliefs.
You
okay?
might not be here anymore. That's why I'm going back to the later comments.
Yeah. Or again, if you're still here, what do you claim the Earth is? So it's moving at a constant? Yes, Mr. Obvious. The Earth is moving up at a constant rate. Provably so. There's actually some demos that I've seen. I should have shared them in this one, but maybe on the next one. Somebody sent them to me on Discord. I forgot who. And he showed like a little weight on a scale, weighing I don't know how many grams, and they started moving it up at a constant rate, and the weight increased, even though it was moving at a constant. Showing that there is a resistance to a constant force. You don't have to accelerate, So I think that was a pretty good demonstration. I'm thinking of a way to recreate that, but I haven't really thought about it too much to be able to maybe in an elevator, I'll be able to do that experiment. Moving an elevator, moving up at a constant, it'll increase the weight of an object, showing that there's a resistance to a constant motion, not just acceleration.
It would have to be accelerating faster and faster. No, Jonathan. It's not accelerating faster and faster.
No, that's a misrepresentation. That's a straw man argument. And no, it doesn't have to be accelerating. Again, you can put a scale on an elevator moving up at a constant, and the weight will increase, even if you're moving at a constant. You don't have to be accelerating for the resistance to that force to be there. The resistance to matter, the reason why acceleration will cause a resistance to motion is because there is a resistance to motion, whether accelerating or constant. That's a fact. So you don't just have to be accelerating. You could also be reproduced using a constant force. And again, you can use that. I might recreate that one with an elevator moving up at a constant and to show that the weight will increase and remain at a constant. Again, if anybody wants to join, the link is there. I see that in other channels, for some reason, they get like 5-6 people fucking join their live
waiting list.
I'll say, Natch and Z. I don't know why they get a lot of callers in, especially to talk about the upwards vector. When Dell was the first one to bring it up, I was like the second to actually present it on YouTube, like to the public, and so it's like I would say we're both of they're obviously being the first one, but me representing it as well. It's funny how nobody comes to us. It's kind of weird, in my opinion, that nobody comes to us to have a conversation about this. But yet I see Z, Tetetic Warrior, and Nachiketa, they get like 5 callers at once sometimes. So it's kind of weird. Like,
I guess my opinion on that would be you and Dale kind of nip the fluff and the BS and right in the butt. And maybe they, Natch might let them go on whatever tangent they want to go on a little bit before bringing it back.
Right. I guess we don't entertain the bullshit. And I guess you could say they kind of do in a way,
Sure.
No, yeah, it's kind of weird, I guess, in my opinion, especially since Dale was the first one to bring this to the table. And, I was one of the ones right after, to represent this online, and to the public, and to actually do demonstrations as well, and it's weird that nobody joins these panels. I'm going to be having these panels more often again, and we'll see if people actually join. It's kind of weird. It's because we are too good looking, William. We make them insecure. That's funny. No, yeah, it's pretty crazy, man. Like, and it's crazy, man. Like, oh my God, it's like, fuck. I don't even know. Like, I want to have these conversations. That's the whole reason why we started doing these live streams in the night.
No, but then once you're done with the live, tomorrow you're gonna have a bunch of comments, a bunch of trolls, and it's like, why don't you guys ever call in? You'll take the time to type out this essay or go get your little AI response, but you won't come on.
Yeah.
They wait for you to finish and then make their little comments, or usually right when you're like, all right, we're gonna end the live, you just see a bunch of trolls out of nowhere just making little statements.
Yeah. And it's not like these people that join the conversation, like on Nash's channel, it's not like they've never heard of me and Dell. Like, they've obviously heard of Dell, before, and they even mentioned some of the demos that I've done. So they've heard of me, they heard of my channel at least, right? So it's like, it's weird that they never reach out to me or they never join these panels to have a conversation with someone like me or someone like that. It's bizarre.
Yeah.
Bizarre. Again, it's like me and Dale are being pushed to the side, and kind of weird. Kind of weird.
Can't disagree.
They only want to affect the onlooker. They know it's futile with us. Exactly. Again, because we're not going to entertain none of their bullshit. We're going to get straight to the point, straight to the facts, and if you try to sway from that, we're going to bring you right back. We're not going to let you go on with your fucking bullshit, and I think because of that, that's true. They avoid the conversation with us because, again, it's just about swaying the onlooker, so yeah, pretty weird.
Yeah,
It's becoming more apparent, though.
Yeah, a little too obvious.
It's a little too obvious, like, it's pretty weird. Again, from now on, after this, I've been doing it before. I usually have an open panel from the start of my videos to the end. So I have an open panel for over 2 hours. Nobody fucking joins. The only one, PK and Brenda, the only two that fucking joined. The two biggest trolls on the flat. I was
about to say they poison every objective.
The only other person that I got besides them was a random ass person that was just strolling through open panels on YouTube. He said he just typed in open panel live, and he was just joining random open panels, and he joined mine randomly. That was the only other person I've ever got to join.
Yeah.
Maybe I got another troll to join. Remember that David or Dave or something like that?
Yeah, well, he was saying that you're wasting your time.
Yeah, but he didn't even want to
something.
talk about reality. He was just
He
calling
was just
in.
saying what you're doing was you could be doing something more fruitful.
Yeah, he just gave his opinion about we're wasting our time and that's it. Like we didn't even talk about he avoided that. He just jumped on real quick and hey, it's fucking crazy. Like again, I'm gonna be doing this open panels more often, and I'm gonna have the open panel from start to finish, and you guys are gonna see that nobody's gonna fucking join. It's fucking weird, but it's
Everyone wants to be a keyboard warrior instead.
yeah.
I think a lot of people don't like to have the conversation. They feel challenged. They feel, pressure, I guess.
But again, I don't care. People can run away from me. They can run away from Dell. At the end of the day, that's why I go to universities. At the end of the day, I still have a conversation with real people. Because trust me, I love talking about reality. I've always loved about talking about this experience. Being alive, being conscious. I've always been what do you call it? Very philosophical. I've always had a philosophical mind. When I think about this reality. So this topic, to me, just went hand in hand. It just unlocked that all over again for me. It just reinforced it even more that holy shit, this is a crazy ass experience we're having. So sharing these objective truths that I came across with other people is like there's nothing else I would love to be doing. And that's why I go to universities, and that's why I have these open panels too, is to give the people the opportunity to try and prove not me but reality wrong. Yeah. If what I'm presenting is wrong, show me, prove to me that that the demonstrations are wrong.
Yeah, we're not stuck. We're not like hanging on to this. No. We have no bias. But you have to be able to demonstrate. It has to be objective reality. It can't just be a claim and it's like, oh, there you changed our mind or something. It has to be demonstrable. It has to, correlate to reality.
So again, I'm the kind of person that loves explaining themselves. I've always been like that. Even before this subject, I always love to explain myself, to give my point of view, to give my reasoning. Mm-hmm. So again, I enjoy these conversations. I really do enjoy them. Again, part of the reason why I do activism, and I talk to people, because I love sharing this. I love explaining this to people. So again, these open panels are no different. You're there to have the dialogue with people that, are maybe on the same boat or, you're against it. It doesn't matter. If you're interested about this reality, the physical aspects of this reality, then this is the channel. This is the panel for that. So again, I'm not going to cuss. I'm not going to, unless you're trolling, then eventually I will call you out.
I mean, just look at his street activism videos. He doesn't carry himself that way. He's not like cussing or anything like that, And I think a lot of people confuse passion for anger, and sometimes the truth, some people aren't ready to hear it. Sometimes truth is hard. So sometimes truth can sound like hate as well, so it's just all about your perspective.
Yeah, at the end of the day, but yeah, if you see some of the conversations I have at university, you'll see that I am respectful.
Yeah.
I don't belittle. I might ridicule the claims. I might do that, but at the end of the day, these claims are not you. So don't take them personal. If I ridicule the claims that you make, again, you didn't come up with these claims. You're just regurgitating them. You were just told these, and you're just repeating them. So don't take it personal in that sense, But at the end of the day, again, I remain respectful, my goal is to simplify it as much as I can and to present it as in the simplest way possible. And again, I want to have the dialogue with people, So yeah, it's kind of weird,
Carl Tucker said, why don't you call in? Why don't you hit the link?
Are you a flat mooner too?
With that statement alone, they're obviously a glober.
So you believe the Earth is a globe because the moon is a circle? Again, you don't even know if the moon is a sphere, but because you see a circle in the sky, that's your proof that the Earth is a globe? You see how I just ridiculed that claim? Don't take it personal. But is that your logic? Like, what the
Well,
fuck?
here's the thing. That statement was obviously meant to troll, or it wasn't in good faith. So when you make statements that aren't in good faith, you should expect to receive the same in return.
Yeah. The fact is, nobody knows what the moon is. That's the fact. Nobody knows what the moon is exactly, how it works, the dimensions of it. Again, if it's even a 3D object,
If it's terraforming, well, obviously it's not terraforming.
So it's like nobody knows what the fuck the moon is at the end of the day. So that comment is completely like, it just shows that maybe, do you believe that the Earth is a globe because you see a circle in the sky? Like, what the fuck? Is that your line of reasoning? Like, oh my God. What's up, Simon? Good to see you.
Again, comments like that should be expected to receive the same in return. So if you're gonna make,
you're trying to ridicule.
You're obviously, that comment wasn't in good faith.
Yeah, obviously.
So you have to expect the same in return.
Exactly.
I think people think just because you have a YouTube channel, you have to be nice and you can't ridicule back and you can't, address the trolls and like that's. We're not here to be a somebody. We're not,
You see what he put right here?
You said it?
I can see the moon right now, and if it was flat, it would be a full moon all the time. What the fuck? I'm not claiming it's flat. Didn't you just hear me? Nobody knows what the moon is, and if you're trying to use the moon to try and justify the shape of the Earth, you're a fucking moron. If that's what you think, you're an idiot. Again, nothing personal. Anybody that claims that. If you think looking at the moon and looking at the stars and looking at the sun proves the ground you're walking on, you're a fucking idiot. The luminaries in the sky have nothing to do with the shape of the Earth. That's the fact. That's a red herring. You know what I'm saying? Nobody knows what these things are, and it has nothing to do with the shape of the Earth. So that's a completely ignorant and retarded comment. Like, oh my God, it's kind of funny. Yeah. I needed that laugh, so thanks for that, I guess.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I mean, if you think that looking at the luminaries proves the ground you're walking on, then yeah, you are. Again, you don't have to be an idiot. You just know that you don't have to be an idiot. So you don't have to believe these things, So that's funny. Let me see one, man. Shit. And this was Ken's, the prime mover's reply. It would take increase the accelerometer. I'm going to round 9.8 meters to 10 to simplify. So increasing from 10 meters per second, 1G to 20 meters per second, 2G to double weight then.
You can't write that letter wrong.
Yeah, I know. I'm not the best reader. That's for sure. Again, we'll stay on for another 5 to 10 minutes. See if anybody wants to join last minute.
Simon said to read back a bit.
Read back a bit.
So if it takes an acceleration to create a constant weight, then what would it take for your weight to be constantly rising?
So if it takes an acceleration to create a constant weight, then what would it take for your weight to be constantly rising? If your body weight is getting heavier and heavier, then what does? Oh yeah, what's the cause of that exactly? If they're claiming that...
What does the Earth need to be doing to create that? A constant push or accelerating push?
Yeah.
There was a follow-up.
No, yeah, makes sense. Makes sense. Exactly. Ken and his crew are added. Earth's increasing velocity will make it impossible to gain altitude at a constant. Exactly that. It's pretty simple to understand. Moving up at a constant, 1 mile an hour, 2 miles an hour. If the Earth was accelerating up again, you wouldn't be able to increase the gap. The Earth will catch up instantly. The minute you leave the reference frame and elevate at 1 mile an hour, you wouldn't be able to increase that gap. The Earth will catch up again. But the fact is that moving up at 1 mile an hour, for example, if you have a drone moving up at 1 mile an hour, you don't have to accelerate the drone up to increase the gap. You could just remain at a constant 1 mile an hour up, and you'll gain a 1 mile gap in 1 hour. At moving at 1 mile an hour. If the Earth was accelerating up, you wouldn't be able to do that, So yeah, pretty good point there. It doesn't take an acceleration to create a constant weight. Exactly. Acceleration would increase your weight. You wouldn't have a constant weight. Exactly.
Thanks.
I mean, it's true. I'm not saying that you're dumb as fuck. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that this is simple. That's true. It is simple, I mean, even you kind of said that, well, I'm not the brightest, and I even get this, that kind of like related to when you used to, you tell me that, But again, it doesn't take a genius to understand this. You don't have to be fucking, again, this is elementary physics. This is very simple stuff. Again, you don't have to be a genius to understand it, Again, a 10-year-old can easily grasp this, easily, which is why one of my questions when I go out to universities is, are you smarter than a fifth grader? Because a 10-year-old can understand these principles, very simple, very simple,
I wouldn't call myself dumb though.
No. Obviously, again, it just basically means you don't have to be a genius, type of thing. That's the better way to say it, I guess.
Doesn't take a genius.
Than to say that I'm dumb and I still get it, but I get what you're trying to say. No worries.
It is weird though that more like accelerating earthers are coming out of the woodwork.
Again, it just shows that they're at it. They're trying to hijack this position of the Earth moving up and trying to like just shit all over it, trying to misrepresent it. And again, just same thing like the flat earthers did with the flat Earth. Always about misrepresenting, hijacking the position.
To redirect,
Yes, they're redirecting it to
the truth.
To basically misrepresent, a lot of strawman arguments to make it look stupid. And that's
just to keep people from objective truth, basically.
Yeah. So if people hear that, people believe the Earth is moving up and it's actually accelerating up, like people are gonna know that's retarded. It's gonna be easily debunkable that the Earth is accelerating up, and then that's how they're able to dismiss the upwards motion of the Earth. So again, it's about they're literally just misrepresenting and strawmanning the argument and just trying to muddy the waters as much as they can. That's literally what's happening with all the fucking cans and all these people that claiming the Earth is accelerating up. Again, it's a weak attempt. It's pathetic. It just shows that they're at it. Because to actually claim that is fucking retarded. Like, it doesn't make any sense. So yeah. Yeah, I mean. Yeah, I guess. You have anything else to add? Maybe.
No, just again, surprised but not surprised that there's no call. Like,
Oh, no callers.
I say callers, but I don't even know if that's the right thing.
I'm not surprised. Like
again, I'm surprised but not surprised.
Yeah.
But it's just again to see the time that people spend in the comment section to write everything that they write. But yeah, when given the opportunity to actually have a chat with you. Like, especially the average, they want to speak to YouTubers and stuff, right? Yeah.
I'm not trying to talk shit or anything, but when Natch talks about the Mandela effect and opens a panel, he has like 6 people fucking entertain the Mandela effect. Like, they're willing to talk about fucking bullshit. All these people, all the callers that call in, they're willing to entertain the Mandela effect and call in and entertain it for fucking hours. But when it comes to objective reality, and then I open the panel for an objective reality conversation, crickets, you know what I'm saying? So, but if I talk about the Mandela effect, I guarantee you'll probably get some callers. They're willing to talk about fucking bullshit and fucking, shit that's untangible, over what can be actually physically proven, So I think that's fucking funny as fuck. So yeah, it's pretty funny. Oh my god. So all right, I think that's gonna be it for this one. Hopefully I'm gonna start to like go out to universities again, try to do it more consistently, at least once or once a week or once every 2 weeks at least. It's been I think it's been a month already since my last time I went to university. So yeah, a month is kind of a long time. So hopefully I'm able to do it more consistently. So
yeah, it's good to talk about things, but what's better to talk? What's more interesting than objective reality?
Again, when we're talking about about objective truth, if you're claimed to be an objective channel, then in my opinion, talking about anything else than the objective is muddying the waters, at the end of the day. So again, if people want to talk about drama, people want to just talk about
Yeah,
other
that's
topics,
cool,
that's
but
fine,
yeah.
but to claim that you're an objective truth channel, talking about things that are not objective, then that's a contradiction. And again, whether deliberate or not, it's muddying the waters at the end of the day. So yeah, again, people could talk about whatever they want. Again, that people's channels. This is my channel. I talk about objective reality. That's what it's about. This whole channel is literally about debunking the globe Earth and debunking all these claims that defy physics. And the globe Earth is the number one lie, in my opinion. There's the majority of people believe it. So that's what I'm going to stick to. I'm not going to entertain conversations about 9/11 and fucking Mandela effects and all this other bullshit that can't be physically proven. In my opinion, that's a distraction. That's just a waste of time. And I'm not about muddying the waters. I'm about getting to the point. So that's what this channel's about, and that's what I represent. So yeah, again, at the end of the day, people can do whatever they want. Not my problem. Again, you want to talk about bullshit, that's fine. People want to talk about bullshit. People want to call in and talk about bullshit. That's fine. That's not gonna happen here though. So maybe that's why again people are intimidated by that. Again, people are too weak and insecure, and that's a personal problem.
Mm-hmm.
So it is what it is. We're gonna go ahead and call it for now, and yeah, hopefully the next live will be at a university. But we do plan on doing these live streams too a little bit more often. Again, to have the open panels to give people the opportunity. But again, we'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
So yeah, thanks for everyone that joined and that watches the videos. Whoever watches this in the replay of this, and we'll see you on the next one. Peace.
Take care.